Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about animation, TV, movies, comics, and all things geek. But today, we're talking commercials. Characters who appeared in commercials. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
And I'm Clifton.
So these are original characters, not like Superman appearing in a Six Flag commercial or something. No, original characters created for television ad campaigns here in the U.S., internationally, possibly for some of these. Not all, I'm guessing, but not really sure. So, but guys, this is wide open for you. This can be best original character, the funniest, the weirdest, most annoying, creeped you out as a kid, whichever, however you want to slice it. All right. So,
All right.
Fire away. Let's go.
I was thinking about this, and for me, I started thinking about when we did the episode on Saturday morning cartoons, and how often that was just, basically a smorgasbord of various characters and various commercials selling toys and or cereals and or, shoes or whatever, toothpaste, brush your teeth, anything.
Yeah.
I immediately thought for some reason, I thought of Captain Crunch.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sure.
With this crunch berries, that whole thing.
Right.
And it was, I don't know why that was my first thought, was just that. And then I started thinking about larger serial characters in general.
Yeah.
But, I think a part of it was the fact that the majority of them, you don't have a lot of live action serial mascots. I started to think of it if there was actually any.
Right. I can't think of any. I mean, I can think of a lot of animated ones. And what's funny, like, about Captain Crunch, though, is I always felt like there was lore there,
Right.
Like he had backstory, and like he had like the soggies or like whatever. It felt like they really thought out that world, which is the funny thing.
Right.
Because I used to, like, when they would give you the little figures when you get the, whatever, all the different Captain Crunch cereals, Crunch Berries, whatever.
Right.
Like sometimes they would put a figure in there. Like I had a collection of them. Like I really liked those little figures.
Huh.
And the soggies. For some reason, I was always after the soggies.
Wow. I know the only thing I remember other than the mascot himself, and there was some sort of, as you said, lore. It seemed like there was more to him.
Right.
He was. I didn't get the impression that he wasn't supposed to be like a pirate, right?
No.
He was more like a British, possibly British captain. That was a look, at least. I mean, he didn't have the accent or anything, but I always thought maybe that.
Right.
But I mean, the only thing I think about when I also think about Captain Crunch is the toy whistle.
Okay.
So there was a toy. The legend has it there was a toy whistle that this guy, I guess John Draper, figured out emitted a tone that if you blew the whistle into the phone, the tone emitted by the whistle that came with Captain Crunch.
Okay.
Activated the long distance line, and you could get long distance for free. Again,
what?
Kids, way back in the olden days.
So they basically put a phone freak in a cereal box.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Like the 1970s phone freak movement. Yeah.
Yes.
Like where people would just like create like a little device to hack long distance calling.
Yes.
Yeah. There were like congressional hearings about that.
Wow.
Because at one point, because in the old days when you used to get a paper bill, it would break down what you called locally versus what you called long distance, and sometimes you had to wait till later hours.
Yeah.
And then turn the phone with a crank to get it to work properly. No, but you had to call, like, it would break it down. And I remember as a kid, like if I had any friend that lived, say, across the country or like in the West Coast, you had to wait till the rates went down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mom and dad were like, no, we can't call grandma now. My grandmother lived out in Oregon, out that way. And for a while she lived in Washington State. Can't call grandma right now because it's too expensive. So
it wasn't quite going as far back as like, the actual lady pulling out a pin in the switchboard to put in another pin, but almost that far back.
Yeah. If you've ever seen any episode of the Anna Griffith Show, and they call Sarah on the switchboard and she's, she's putting the pins in. Yeah. That's not quite this, but this person figured this out, that you could basically, hack get the rates to be able to call long distance for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's one thing I think about, so it's kind of like, like I said, maybe Captain Crunch wasn't so much a pirate or a British captain. Maybe he was a smuggler, and he was just smuggling crunch berries and long distance tones. I don't know if that's what. Could be.
Wow, this is taking a turn already.
Right.
First of all, I mean, it's hitting me. I'm like, man, we could do an entire episode just on serial characters.
Right.
Because I mean, in prepping for this, I didn't have a single one. Not a single one came to mind.
Right. Okay.
And suddenly when you said it, I'm like, oh man, Trix Rabbit. Oh man, Lucky.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man,
Right.
Toucan Sam.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
What about you,
For
Clifton?
sure.
I mean, speaking of like Saturday mornings and commercial venues, the one I can think of, and it's somebody who had a lot of legs outside of commercials, and to the point where a lot of people don't even know that he started in commercials, and that is Ernest P. Worrell.
Oh wow, yeah.
Who started as like, a regional ad mascot for tons and tons of different things. It was like very small scale regional market type advertising that then became a Saturday morning show, I believe, for one season and didn't take off. I think only ran for like one season, and I forget the title. It's something to do with Vern in the title, of course.
Okay.
Like, hey, Vern.
Right.
And then after that, the movies, somebody independently financed Ernest Goes to Camp,
right,
and Ernest Saves Christmas, and then Disney bought distribution rights, and that's when it became
huge
pop culture vehicle through the 80s. And I loved Ernest Saves Christmas. It's a classic.
There was one of those shows that I want to say it was American, like it was a show like, I think it was, what was it? It was one of those like practical joke / blooper shows, I think. Like, I don't know if it was the one that was with Dick Clark and Ed McMahon.
Right.
I don't remember. There was one on NBC, and then on ABC or CBS had another one.
Yeah.
But it was one of the things where that's how I first saw him.
Okay.
Was they would just show you like, I don't know, a 4 or 5 minute like burst of different, like, you know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah.
Hey, Vern, that kind of thing. Whatever the commercial was for, like a bank or whatever he was doing it for.
Yeah.
And that's where I first saw him long before the movie. So when the movies came out, I'm like, oh, it's that guy. It's
right.
Worley something, right? That was his name? Yeah, Ernest. Yeah, that was the thing. So, but I remember that was, because again, like you said, it was regional. So if you weren't in the region that they had the commercials, you didn't know about it. But like that was the only place I saw him was on one of the nets. So networks. So always liked him.
Yeah.
I always thought it was a fun bit.
And he's a childhood staple
in
the 80s.
Yeah. Went on to play Jed Clampett.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
I thought up this topic. I was going through stuff at my parents' house, and I found a bag of old Happy Meal toys.
Okay.
Right. And one of them was of Mac Tonight. Do you remember Mac Tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. McDLT, right?
Yeah.
I freaking loved these. So this was the McDonald's Moon Man, if you remember. It was a 1987 campaign.
Wow.
It ran for 3 years.
Yeah, that sounds about
right. It did 27 ads in 3 years. Played by Doug Jones. I don't know if you guys knew that too.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Before Abe Sapien and
and what's his character on Star Trek Discovery? He's on that too. He's great on that.
Yep. Shape of Water. Yep.
Yeah.
Plays, Hocus Pocus, plays a lot of monsters and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, he tweeted about it in 2017. It was an anniversary for it, and he's like, "This is like my first gig. Like, this is where,
And probably the most terrifying character he's ever played.
Really? So I'm, how old am I here? I'm 6. I used to love these commercials. But I tripped over a couple of the Happy Meals over there, and I did some looking into it. So so it's basically it's a big tall guy,
right.
with a crescent moon head with sunglasses on, and he sings like a rendition of Mac the Knife.
Right. He's doing like a lounge singer gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Doug Jones didn't do the. Did he do the voice? Did he?
No, he didn't do the voice. No.
Okay.
There was somebody else singing, but he was the guy in the suit.
Okay.
And so he does a rendition of Mac the Knife to get you to go to like McDonald's late night.
But I definitely thought it was for the at first it was for the McDLT. I could be remembering that wrong.
I mean, they were around the same time.
Okay. Does everyone remember the McDLT?
That was the keep the hot side hot and the cold side cold. Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember this at all. No.
It was in the days of we don't care about styrofoam.
Right.
And so you had a much bigger the styrofoam. It was basically 2 styrofoam containers put on top of one another.
Like we'll give you one burger in 2 styrofoam containers. That's how little we care about styrofoam and the environment.
Right.
Yeah. So it was lettuce and tomato on one side with a bun, at top of the bun, and then the burger part that was, again, hot side hot, cool side cool. But yeah, I could be wrong. But I thought they were around the same time together.
That's crazy.
They're certainly around the same time. I do remember that. What's funny is like they remodeled restaurants. Like they remodeled their whole fleet of restaurants to cater to the Mac Tonight.
Right.
Because like they built like statues of him in all the restaurants at the piano, like playing the little piano gimmick. And somebody posted a photograph somewhat recently, within the past year or so, of a McDonald's that still has that decorating scheme that's hadn't been renovated ever since. So it's like walking back into, 1989.
Wow.
I watched kind of a history on this.
Okay.
Weirdly, I found a guy who did the history on it. And so it was a campaign geared towards adults more and not towards kids, but it became so popular, obviously, that they changed it to go towards kids enough to have like Happy Meal toys and stuff about it and everything. But yeah, there was a period where they were doing actual appearances. Like there was a piano player like actually going to McDonald's, right? And like playing concerts there that, according to this video, apparently like you would get like 1,000 people
really
to show up for these things. And then
it was like Debbie
it kind of
Gibson
went
at
the
a
Chuck
mall.
E. Cheese routine. It went the Chuck E. Cheese route where they got like the animatronic guys in there.
Okay.
And did that. And that's what you're talking about, Clifton. And I did see, I think that there's like a big McDonald's in Florida or something like a one of a kind one. I think it's like an entertainment McDonald's or something like that. And they have like the last like Mac Tonight animatronic thing there. The unfortunate thing that I have to disclose also for this, as I tripped over looking into this, is he's been commandeered by a lot of racist memes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's fallen on hard times.
So I'm just putting that out there. Obviously, we don't
get a tattoo. Do not get a tattoo on
any
of
those things.
Oh wow. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, no, me neither. I found that out today when I was looking for like watching the history video and looking for old commercials, and needless to say, like racists ruin everything.
Yes.
Like I can't even enjoy my Mac Tonight McDonald's commercials from 1987 with it. Like, you got to corrupt everything.
Right.
So,
wow.
All right, who else you got?
Who else do I have? I have the Kool-Aid Man.
Sure.
He made my list.
Classic.
Most people who, kids nowadays, they don't really push Kool-Aid like they did once upon a time. But I mean, I remember my mom didn't buy it for us a lot, and I say that for about myself and my sister. We didn't get Kool-Aid all the time. My mom was, not real big on just giving us raw sugar, sugar water. But there were times, like I remember once it was my mom basically came home, and I don't know what the occasion was, but she came home and she basically had like she fanned them out like playing cards. All the packets, like a good 6 or 7 packets of Kool-Aid, like of various shades and flavors, and it was just like it was like you won the lottery. We had like, oh my god, there's lime, there's lemon lime, there's cherry. Like, what do we do to deserve this? But in the old days, they had commercials for Kool-Aid Man, and someone, it was kids were dying of thirst,
Yep.
You have the apocrypha of like, we just drank out of the hose. I'm like, no, you didn't. You drank Kool-Aid out of the fridge. That's what you did. And there'd be kids, dying of thirst. And someone would say something about, would do the Kool-Aid Man yell, like, almost like a Tarzan type yell, if I'm remembering correctly. And it was like, hey, Kool-Aid Man. And he would just burst through the wall.
Right.
And be like, oh yeah. Or, if Family Guy loves to do it. Someone says something about Kool-Aid Man, he busts through the wall. That's like the more recent, like I see that character pop up. But like Kool-Aid Man had comic books. Marvel put out a couple Kool-Aid Man comics. I think they might have been like commercial, like tie-in stuff to the stuff. I think Kool-Aid Man even had a video game.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yep. For the Atari 2600.
Okay.
M Network put it out by Mattel in 1983. but yeah, it's available. You can take looks at it. It's on. There's videos of it on YouTube. But yeah, I never played the video game, but I was I think it's probably just the Kool-Aid Man trying to eliminate thirst, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I always liked the Kool-Aid Man. I always thought that it was a fun.
Sure.
Who doesn't like a character that's going to basically cause disaster to your home,
Yeah,
but bring you a pitcher of flavored sugar water.
He's saving your life, though.
Of course,
dehydrated. You need,
right.
You need your blood sugar's dropping. He needs to help you.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do on a summer day, right?
I have another one that also got the video game treatment. I'll just throw it in there since you gave me the segue.
Okay.
The 7-Up spot.
Oh yeah, that spot.
You remember that?
Oh,
I used to like those too. Also with
Yeah.
sunglasses, which apparently I think all you need to do to get me to like something is you just put the character in sunglasses and I'm all in.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Right.
But I don't remember what their deal was at all. I remember the video game came out like 1990, 1991, that thereabouts.
So NES original, probably, right?
Was it? I hate talking
probably.
about video games because it makes me sound dusty. But I remember it was like, I never played it, but it looked cool. And it was one of those, it was a side scroller, but it was one of those where like the character could hang off of the edges and jump up and climb up things. And that always, like, I always thought those engines were awesome when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Just extra movement. But yeah, I dug the 7-Up spots.
Oh yeah.
Seems it got a wide release, actually. It came out on NES, Game Boy, Commodore 64, MS-DOS,
What is
Atari ST, and Amiga.
Sure. Okay.
God.
Every system of its day.
Right.
Yeah, released May 15th, 1990.
So Spot was everywhere.
Yep.
Who you got, Clifton?
My next one is also a character from the 80s who wears sunglasses. Though this one kind of breaks one of our rules, as he is a character that first appeared in something else in England before making a move to commercials. But from an American perspective, and I think, people all over the world, similar situation, the commercials were my introduction to the character, and that is Max Headroom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He first appeared in a British TV movie, a British cyberpunk TV movie called Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future, if I remember right. And then went on to be a variety show host, kind of like a virtual DJ or virtual VJ of sorts in the MTV days. Had a variety show, like interview talk show, played music videos. But really soon into that is when he became the global spokesperson for New Coke. And that was my introduction, because those commercials were everywhere when I was growing up. It was billed as the first computer-generated spokesperson in 1985, despite the fact that he was not computer-generated. It was actor Matt Frewer in prosthetic makeup with a lot of MTV aesthetic going on around him. Inspired by like early music videos of the time. They tried to cash in on the early like analog digital craze of the mid 80s, and succeeded. Not just Coca-Cola. It was kind of like all over the place in mid 80s pop culture.
That's interesting, because I don't have any memory of New Coke. I was around for it. I don't have any memory of it at all. I also didn't know that was makeup. That blows me away. Wow.
Yeah.
That's some good production value. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, they did effects on top of they do overall effects to sell the computeriness of it. But yeah, he's in makeup.
Okay.
So after the TV movie, after the talk show, after the commercials, ABC ordered a primetime drama series in 1987, a 1-season Max Headroom cyberpunk series that I really want to go back and watch.
I love the series,
because I feel like we're coming up on his 40th anniversary. So I think it'd be fun to go back and see that cyberpunk world.
Again, love the show. Thought the show was very cool. It was, like you said, Matt Frewer, right?
Yeah, it was Matt Frewer was the star. I love Matt Frewer. He's great.
Amanda Pays.
Yeah.
Was also in The Flash, the old John Wesley Shipp one.
Okay.
And then Jeffrey Tambor Who I love, Jeffrey
Oh
Tambor.
wow.
Yeah, he was in it. It's got one of my favorite lines ever from like the faceless executives that wanted to exploit everything they were trying to, like, they were fighting against, basically. In our business, morals are one thing, but ratings are everything. Great line, really great line.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way they explain like his origin story is pretty cool. Do you remember that?
I remember I think so. I remember there being an accident that explains the Max Headroom name.
Right, and it's like on the accident happens, and then the actual maximum headroom is on one of like the arm of something that he gets hit with.
Right, it's like the arm of a parking garage, like coming down to block the exit when
that's it.
The what is he? He's like a pirate reporter.
Yeah, they're doing so. Again, they're fighting against some kind of nameless, faceless corporation that runs like basically controls information or is trying to control information.
Right. So they're like the hackers, but they're really just journalists.
Yes.
But in their future, it's illegal to be a journalist.
Right. Yeah. Apparently it's on Google Play and Apple TV.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it.
Man, there's a whole lore behind that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, they made a whole lore behind Max Headroom.
Yep. My next one would be, it's kind of an odd one, but it was I always had an affinity for the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Sure. Yeah.
Sold a lot of cookies, sold a lot of like, nothing says love and like something from my oven. That's a good tagline.
Another one that my wife had thrown out. I didn't one that didn't jump to mind. I was telling her what we were doing. And that was one she threw in, and I forget, because she was like, I think that's probably the most famous one. And I went, yeah, it's probably either that one or the Energizer Bunny. I would say.
It's pretty up there, way up there, but yeah. Yes, but being a chunky fella, I was
stocky.
All right, fine, we'll go with stocky.
Husky.
Yes, husky's a good one. Yeah, I lived through that phase too. But there was a summer when I was affectionately called Doughboy long before.
Oh,
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a love-hate thing with me and the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah.
But
he's cute though.
Yeah.
Like the oh god, it's not on my list, but who's the fabric softener bear?
Oh, Snuggles?
Yeah, Snuggles. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I was Doughboy long before Ice Cube. That's what I was going to say. Because Doughboy's Ice Cube.
So you've got the real cred.
I do. I'm the OG Doughboy long before Ice Cube was in Boys in the Hood. So
okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say some characters that I'm just fascinated by is the Geico cavemen.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And the staying power there. It's crazy because it's like, right. Like that's just part of it. Because they were there, and like I was like, okay, like it's kind of an okay commercial, I guess. Like it wasn't even. I don't even feel like it was the most like famous commercial of its day. And then it got a sitcom in 2007 that starred Nick Kroll, who's gone on to bigger and better things since then. It also starred Stephanie Lemlin, prolific animation voice actress,
really?
who's Artemis on Young Justice, because we're all big animation fans here. Also some of us video game fans, and she's in the Spider-Man game as what's her character in Spider-Man? She's the crazy villain that pops up.
Oh, she's not Speedball.
No, not Speedball. Screwball, that was her name.
There it is.
Screwball.
I was all around it.
She played Screwball in the Spider-Man game.
Right.
But yeah, so it stars Nick Kroll, Stephanie Lemlin, and Sam Huntington, who's also been in a bunch of other stuff since. And one season sitcom, and then it faded away, and now they're back.
Yeah.
15, 20 years later.
Sitcom didn't do well, but I do remember them being like really popular, those commercials.
Yeah.
I mean, popular enough that it got a sitcom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one that I like right now. It's a continuing series going on right now. I didn't know his name. His name is Dr. Rick. And it's the Progressive commercials, the new homeowners becoming their parents. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy too.
It's the actor is Bill Glass that plays him.
Okay.
And I think he's like really great. Man, I like these commercials crack me up. I never get tired of these.
So what's funny is like Progressive has how many running gimmicks? Because that's one. Flo is one.
Yeah.
There's more.
Jamie.
There are a lot. I feel like.
Oh yeah. That's a spinoff of Flo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes sometimes they're together, and sometimes it's Jamie by himself,
Right?
or one of the other characters, like the kind of sarcastic girl. That's
Yeah, the
not,
Debbie Downer one. Yeah.
yeah, or Flo's sister.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to tune out commercials, so it's not uncommon for me to like know a commercial but not know what it's advertising.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like not know what the product is. But I feel like all of advertising right now is Progressive and Liberty Mutual. Like,
Yeah,
like the dueling insurance company ads. Yeah.
Liberty Bibbity, that guy.
Yeah.
right.
And Jake from State Farm. Like,
Yeah, yeah, very true. He's everywhere. Also,
yeah.
who else? You guys remember Grandmama?
Yes.
No.
You do now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. I still don't.
This was a NBA player, Larry
Right.
Johnson, dressing up as an old woman.
Oh yeah.
It was
yeah.
it was a Converse commercial, and then
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he appeared on Family Matters as Grandmama.
Did he really?
Yeah, there's an episode. There's a guest star episode. Yeah, I swear, I had no idea that I didn't realize that like spin-off into television was going to be such a big thing in this episode.
Yeah.
Like I thought the Geico caveman was kind of a rare thing, but
and I have two big ones for you, Zach, that you haven't brought up yet.
Okay.
And it's funny because you pitched the topic. Like this is just something you really like. So like you love the commercial characters, but then there's a couple that I think like you love that so much that there's characters you love in pop culture that you didn't even know came from commercials originally.
Mm-hmm.
And one is Ted Lasso.
Yep. Yeah.
Started as the Premier League soccer spokesman for NBC's coverage of British Premier League before the show. Like they concocted the character and then
long before the show.
Yeah.
2013.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they first started showing like British Premier League on Saturday mornings on NBC. And then another one is Doug.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know Doug was in a commercial.
Yeah, it was the creator in his early days, started in advertising, and it was just a character that he had created even before going into business, and appears in a couple early commercials. Like it's kind of like a proto Doug. So it's not Doug specifically, but if you look at it, you're like, oh, it's Doug. Like that's Doug. It's like pants instead of the khaki shorts. And one was for it's like for like grapefruit growers in Florida or something. And then in another later commercial, very similar character like Doug 2.0 pops up with the dog or like a proto version of his dog. So those are and then eventually made the way to Nickelodeon and later Disney.
I love Doug. I hope the rumors of it coming back are true. As is with everything. Ted Lasso, though, is like I think the example of this catching on, and it's like it's the most ideal example of this thing, right? You get a beloved special show out of it that's an Emmy Award winning thing and goes 3 seasons,
right?
Right? Like, yeah. No, it's I'm so thankful for those commercials because we got such a beautiful thing out of it. All right, any last ones?
I did think it was interesting when they tried to bring back Colonel Sanders.
Oh,
but not the actual guy, but like different actors playing him.
Right. And WWE superstars.
Well, and then like Reba McEntire played him too, right?
Right.
That was what I was like, oh yeah, there was somebody that I'm like, because Colonel Sanders is problematic, I'd say at best.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to salvage that one.
Right. And then but the fact that they brought him back and then the way they brought him back with like everyone sort of getting in on the act.
Yeah, it was like Dolph Ziggler was one of the Colonel Sanders in the cross promotion with WWE.
I feel like Bill Hader was one of them and stuff too. I feel like a lot of people.
I think so. Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago. It was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, not long ago.
Yeah, Daryl Hammond apparently did. Norm Macdonald did.
Yeah. Oh, Norm.
Jim Gaffigan, George Hamilton, Dolph Ziggler, Rob Riggle, Vincent Kartheiser. Who else? Rob Lowe.
Okay.
Billy Zane.
Love Billy Zane.
Ray Liotta. I didn't know that one. Who else? Like I said, Reba McEntire, Jason Alexander, yeah. Sean Astin.
Okay.
Mario Lopez. And that's it.
All right.
But yeah, a lot of people.
Does Saved by the Bell have to come up every episode?
I don't mean that. I didn't plan on it. It
No,
was not intentional, but yes. But yeah, I thought that was again interesting that they would try to resurrect the character that had long gone away.
Yeah.
And the fact that they don't. It's not. Again, kids. You only know it as KFC, whereas once upon a time it was indeed Kentucky Fried Chicken. Not like not didn't want try to get away from the connotation of fried food when that's all they changed. They didn't change anything else.
No, they didn't change their recipes.
No.
They just hoped you wouldn't notice.
Right. Yeah, if they took it out of the name, you would feel better about ordering it or buying it, I guess. So to me, it's the same equivalent of like, we didn't mention him or talk about him, but the idea of if all of a sudden there were a bunch of celebrities playing Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
Even though Ronald McDonald's not a real person, whereas Harlan Sanders at one point was with us. So
that'd be funny.
Yes.
I still get a lot of joy at M&M commercials.
They're fun. I like those.
I didn't quite recall how long it's been going on.
Right.
And I tripped over. So it started in print media. The characters go back to like 1954 in print media. Okay. But 1994 was the first like CGI characters, the ones that we know. And I had forgotten that originally voiced by John Lovitz and John Goodman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now voiced by Billy West and J.K. Simmons.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this has been going strong since 94.
Yeah.
Well,
they're usually fun. They're usually, a good premise for whatever they're running.
It's not Christmas for me until I see the Hershey's Kiss, bum, 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 bum,
ringing the bells
commercial. Yeah. It's not Christmas for me until I see that commercial and until I see the M&Ms like they do exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Santa's. Yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Any last ones? Because I've saved my absolute favorite for last.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the one I was thinking of. Unless we're gonna do unless now I've opened the Pandora's box, no pun intended, on cereals. If we're gonna do cereal mascots, I can wait and hold until then.
I think maybe we should do a revisit as all cereal ones.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, I know our engineer has some thoughts on Count Chocula.
Well, I was gonna say, I do as well. That's why I was like, I'll save it. I'll save that. But I mean, like for me, it's it's going back a ways. You've got your Vlasic pickle stork,
sure.
doing the Groucho Marx bit, or Charlie the tuna, going way back. I'm sure anyone who's younger than 30 has no idea what we're talking about this episode. So
that's all right.
Spuds MacKenzie was always fun. Do you remember Spuds MacKenzie?
I don't.
Clifton, do you remember?
You don't remember the Budweiser Pitbull?
Yeah.
Oh, was that his
Bud
name?
Light. Yeah. The Bud Light. Yes. Yeah. Spuds MacKenzie was the mascot. It wasn't a party until Spuds MacKenzie showed up.
Right.
That's right. No, I didn't know his name.
Then he cleaned up his act and became the target dog. No.
Man, everybody.
Is that what happened? Is he witness? Is he witness protection?
Lore. That's my personal lore. Is they're the same dog?
A little too much partying, and then he had to slow down and do stupid duets for Target.
Yes.
That's a good one. I like that.
I do remember the frogs, though.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Nope. The frogs were good.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah.
You guys ready for my absolute favorite?
Sure.
Yeah, save it for last. All right. The most interesting man in the world. The Dos Equis commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Started in 2006. Portrayed by Jonathan Goldsmith. And narrated, I didn't know this, narrated by frontline narrator Will Lyman.
Okay.
And so, basically, this was just like I love the production value of these, like the way that they made like all the videos look like old and grainy and like yellowed and stuff, and they would always see him doing like these stupid, absurd things, like he's like in a tuxedo and bench pressing like two women in a chair, and then there's another and then he's like in like a hospital in Grenada, and he's like stitching himself up.
I always like those commercials, but to me they always smacked of like the Chuck Norris like memes of that's what I was talking about.
It's super close.
Yeah, right? They're almost the same thing. But yeah, no, I like this one better. But I always like those ads. Those ads were fun.
My favorites is like, so they would say stuff like this over like these videos of him playing like like handball or like, you know, at like a state dinner with, you know, Kennedy and stuff like that. Right. Like,
Right.
so it's like if opportunity knocks and he isn't home, opportunity waits.
Right.
Right. Sharks
Right.
have a week dedicated to him.
Sure.
Right? His personality is so magnetic, he is unable to carry credit cards. Like, right? I love those.
No,
yeah.
No, they're good.
And so started in 2006. I think what many people don't remember is that his last commercial, he went to Mars. It was a mission to Mars. It was like a 1-minute commercial where he's like walking on the spaceship and there's all these like,
like saying goodbye kind of a thing?
everybody's like saying goodbye. And that was in 2016. And then they ushered in the new guy.
Oh, okay.
That was Augustin Legrad. He was a Frenchman actor.
Okay.
He's a French actor, sorry. And he was introduced in 2016, and then the campaign ended in 2018. But yeah, that's my absolute favorite. I mean, I will fall in a hole watching these over and over again. And that's another thing. So if you want to turn that into a sitcom, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Or if you want to turn Dr. Rick, the progressive guy, into a commercial, I'm also all in for that.
Yes.
Should get his own Apple Plus series.
All right. So that is it for commercial characters. If you'd like to suggest a topic, tell us what it is in the comments. Email us at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. We're also on Blue Sky as well, so you can find us there. Reminding you that you can find links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com, where you can check out all of our past episodes. Just please, however you may be listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and find us on social media. And we will see you guys next time.